Welcome to the 24K Life podcast. I am your host, Derick Gant, and I am excited to bring you Dr. Vic Manzo. The Zoe. I call him the Zoe. I just call him the Zoe. I don't know why, but he looks like a Zoe. I know it's a podcast. I know you can't really see him. If you want to see him, you should go to our YouTube channel where you can not only see, hear, but you can also comment on the content that we're getting ready to share. Now, as you know, my job is to bring you amazing people doing amazing things that can help elevate your life, and he is that dude. Now, he's a business coach, but before that, and in conjunction with that, he's also a chiropractor. I am keenly interested in the connection between the body and the mind, and I know he is going to disclose to us a little bit more insight about how we can use our bodies and minds, and his working with bodies and the mind. And obviously, we all want to monetize. So with that, let me introduce you to Dr. Vic. Dr. Vic.
What's up, brother? Excited to be here.
Hey, man, you hear I gave you a nickname already.
I've been called Zoe before on my baseball team, so I appreciate it.
You know, that's what athletes do, man. Even ex-athletes, we know we can find the juice in the name, man, and bring it out. So I'm just doing what I was born to do, recognize greatness, and hopefully bring it out. So how you doing today? You said you had some storms.
Yeah, it's been an interesting day, in and out of thunderstorms. It's just all morning. It's been, it was earlier in the morning, and all of a sudden you hear like a light. You see, like you hear the bolt of like the thunder hit, and all of a sudden just power goes out. I'm like, got a podcast in a few hours. I'm hoping that's going to come back. That didn't sound good, but thankfully it did.
Well, good, man. So tell us about, you're sitting there. For those of you that are listening, I always paint a colorful picture. You're sitting here. He's a muscular dude. He's wearing his workout shirt like he just came off the bench press. And, and he's a chiropractor. He's not like a normal doctor dude, right? Skinny, white, pale dude. No, this dude's got some color. I know he's laughing at me, but I'm telling the truth. And he's all built up and bulked out. Tell us about your journey, man. You don't look like the typical doctor.
Health has always been important to me. I had a good role model. My mom's still to this day a fitness instructor. She's been doing it now for almost 39 years.
We love Mom. All right.
Yeah. She's been my inspiration when it comes to health and whatnot. So after a while, at 13 years old, I wanted to learn what health was. I had this, what my mom called a natural belly. Don't ask me what that is. I still don't know what that is. I understand it from a structural standpoint. My stomach just sticks out because other structural reasons. But I'm like, but long story short, I told her, and I was like, I want to learn how to get a six pack. I want to learn how to be fit, because growing up, I saw my mom having shakes and smoothies, taking supplements, working out, and she was in great shape. And the people that I saw her when she was teaching classes, and some other people, they were doing the same thing and they were in great shape. So I was like, okay, I want to learn this. So that's what I thought health was, all throughout my teens and so forth, and loved working out. It was my saving grace. I always say it especially in high school, but it was one of those things where, it was until 19 years old where everything got challenged, and that's where my whole journey started to shift, and that's where the door of chiropractic opened up.
So what happened at 19, bro?
I was playing rugby for Arizona State. I was playing on the club team, and every month, I say that because I was like, man, I was in better shape than I've ever been in my life. I could run a 5-minute mile. I was lifting double my weight. It was just crazy, all the things I was able to do. But yet my health kept declining. I had headaches. I had sensitivity to light. No matter how much I slept, I was always tired and fatigued, exhausted. I had digestive issues. A whole plethora of things were coming up. But it was like month after month, these things were just new things were coming up, or things were getting worse. And it took about 8 months. And eventually I was like, Mom, I think when I come home, I think I need to go see a doctor. I don't know. I have something wrong going on. Because in my mind, exercise, nutrition, that's health. And so that's what I just kept thinking. That's what I just kept doing. And I was already taking supplements, I was doing all these other things. And I was like, I just don't understand. And well, long story short, it took about a month to get in. About a few days before the appointment, my mom said, hey, why don't you go see Dr. Frank? Now, Dr. Frank was a chiropractor I saw when I was younger. This is a chiropractor she's been seeing since I was 1 year old. And I said, well, if you think he can get me in quick and you think he can help, I'll do it. And she's like, let's go. Well, go see. She got me in, and he explained a whole different story. And he was like, in 2 months, we'll get rid of all the symptoms. In about 2 months, you'll need chiropractic care for the rest of your life. But this was the same guy. I never forgot him. He was the same guy who said to me after this appointment, he goes, you're going to have to stop playing rugby. And I looked and I said, no, you're not doing that to me again. And he's like, and I go, you told me I couldn't play organized football when I was a kid. I never forgot that because I wanted to play. All my friends did, and I wanted to play football. And he said I could. He goes, I don't recommend it for you to play in football. So my mom listened to him, and I didn't play football. And so now I'm like, you're taking away rugby? I go, I love this damn sport. It's the only time I ever played it. It was that 1 year. And but I understood what he meant and what he said. He explained it well. And I was like, okay, I'll do whatever I have to do. Mm-hmm. And but that was a turning point in my life, because what's interesting is not only did my symptoms all go away, but 2 months after, when I went back to school, I was in the best shape of my life. Like I said, I was able to lift double my weight and run and do that. So you would think I was like all shredded and all this. Right. I was just a big guy, but I wasn't shredded. Okay. And then all of a sudden, not changing anything in my diet, nothing changed. I went down to 10% body fat and everything else. And that is what puzzled me, because it met my world of what I thought health was. You exercise, you eat right, you get in great shape. Right. That's health. And not only it broke that belief when it came to my health, but even my fitness health totally changed. Okay. And that's when I was like, I need to know more about whatever this thing is called chiropractic. And I want to learn it so that I can help others, because what I had wasn't so severe. And I bet you there's others who need to know this.
That's interesting, man. I've never heard of this type of situation. So chiropractic fixed your fitness. I mean, you weren't able to play rugby, but it fixed everything else, and you were able to be more fit because you got adjusted. I mean, I'm just repeating what you said. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, because you got to understand, a lot of times what we think chiropractic is something that someone fixes or corrects or only works with someone with headaches, back pain, and neck pain, right? That's most of what the mainstream, is at that level with. A lot of times people treat it like a treatment. Like, oh, you go to a chiropractor, you get this done, and this is going to get that result. Chiropractic doesn't treat any illness, condition, symptom, or disease. It doesn't do any of those things. Okay. How chiropractic worked and how it even worked for me in those elements and other things is we help improve that communication between the brain and the body. We help to, your nervous system, you think of your spine as a highway, right, of just processing information all day long to the brain, to the body, going back and forth. Now, what happens is when we have stress, physical, chemical, mental, emotional, spiritual, whatever that is, and when we have too much of that, more than what your body can handle, it short circuits. Mm-hmm. Just like when you over surge or put too much power on an outlet and it shorts the circuit breaker. Right. The spine's like a circuit breaker. The only difference between the spine and a circuit breaker is that the circuit breaker turns off. It doesn't work anymore. Your body doesn't do that. What it'll do is say overshoots, it goes into protection, and it'll just dim that little bit of that area. So you don't get as much proper communication now going to wherever those nerves go to, either going to the body or going up to the brain, how it processes information. And so to answer the question then, how did that help with all my fitness and stuff, is it helped me be less stressed. It helped my body adapt better to my environment. So when I was working out, when I was eating, when I was doing all those things, my body now all of a sudden was breaking down food better. It was absorbing nutrients better. It was processing better. It wasn't stressed as well like it was before. Okay. And that's how my body started to all of a sudden get really, my hormones started to balance out better. All this stuff started to work better. My function was better overall. And when that happened, that's the reason why I saw the results that I saw. Awesome. That's excellent, man. So when did you write your first book? I was 30. I got to think about this now. I was 34. 34. So tell us about the 3 books that you've written. So Rediscover Your Greatness is my first book that I've written. And it was all about, through my journey of understanding the different, wanted to share like the codes to life in a way now, and like these rules and how you can apply them and what this all means. And I called it Rediscover Your Greatness because we're really in life to rediscover who we really are. Of course, we come in here, we forget who we are, and we were somebody before. There was something of us before we came here, right, into this physical body, into this experience, and we let life kind of persuade us and condition us and all these different things. And it's kind of like putting masks on and we forget who we are. And so it's tapping back into understanding the game called life and really knowing how to play it at the deepest level that I knew at that time with all my experiences and my studies, to help an individual really empower themselves so that people don't know they don't need to be a victim. They can take control of their life. And there's actually methodologies or ways on how they can do that in very simple ways.
Excellent. So what about the other two?
A Walk in the Dark was my second one. I wrote that in 2019. And that one was, I wanted to write a book to kind of attempt to end mental suffering.
Really?
And that was my goal. Now, I'm not expecting one book to knock it all out, but I wanted to, if my purpose was, is if I can show someone that darkness in the life that we all face, life is contrast. Mm-hmm. And if I can show them that all that matters is if you shift your perspective and how you judge it and how you see it, okay, it will drastically change the outcome and every experience of your life. Because you can't suffer if you look and go, I know I'm going through a hard time right now. I know this isn't great. I know whatever that may be. I don't like the feelings, but I know there's going to be something good out of this. I know something great's going to come from that. And if you just do that, the outcome, you hold on to that and you truly believe it. There's so many, I share in there the neurology and neuroscience, how that all works with the brain to when you do those kind of things and add quantum physics in it. So that way you can then all of a sudden look at this in a different realm and you start to tell yourself that story and it will turn out to be that or even something even greater.
So let's just assume that the average listener isn't abreast on the topic of quantum physics and how it relates to us as individuals, as humans. How would you explain that from a one-on-one perspective?
The easiest thing to explain quantum physics is it looks at the most minute aspect of life and what, the aspect of it. So it's the looking at the invisible part of life that we can't see, and how the invisible makes the invisible makes the physical, or the non-physical makes the physical world. Right. And so that's the basis of what quantum physics looks at, and how the properties, the laws, and all these things, and how that all works. Because when we understand more of how the quantum world works, which used to be called the spiritual world, that's what, when I was getting into my energy healing, we called it the spiritual world. We didn't call it quantum. Right. But the quantum science started to come around and saying, yeah, what you think is what you become. There's a study on that isn't called that study, but and they started to look at how these interactions and how life plays in a certain way. And at the end of the day, everything's energy. Right. And they call it quanta. So it's everything in life is energy. And when you start to understand that, then it's whatever's happening in your life, maybe health, business, money, relationships, whatever it is, it's the energy that you emit out is what's creating. That's called the law of cause and effect.
Absolutely. So as the founder of Empower Your Reality, is that what you teach people, to tap into the small quanta so that they can elevate in a better way?
Absolutely, man. Tap into
Is it really? I nailed it. I nailed it.
It's empowering your reality. It's right in the name, right? How to empower yourself by tapping within.
So how do you do that? Are you doing it one-on-one? You doing it in groups? You doing it through like a book study of your content?
Yeah, I do a lot of what I do. I have classes and stuff and in my books, but then I do one-on-one coaching is the primary big thing that I'll do if people want to get the all-in-one encompass. Because with the coaching, I'm not just teaching a system. I'm teaching a philosophy that allows you to work with your individual ways so that you can develop from what works for you and not, let me just put you in this and then here we go, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. It's no, what works for you? How do we help uncover the inner battles that you have? Because we all have them. We all have a subconscious mind, right? We're all conditioned in a certain way. And some of those conditionings gave us some, strengths in some areas in our life. And some of those conditionings didn't do has us struggle or has us face challenges and obstacles. Right. And it's the understanding of how to find your path. And I'm like more of a guide, just guiding you through a journey. But through that, you find fulfillment. And through that, as a business coach, because when you find fulfillment, then you start to thrive in it, not just in business, but in every area of your life.
In all parts, man. It's great to have, I say, in my own information, my own book, I talk about, why choose, and if you're going to choose, what are you going to choose? What are you going to get? If you had to choose between your health, your wealth, your relationships, your mindset, or your physical fitness, which one are you giving up? And the answer is none of them. I'm not willingly giving any of them up. So you're exactly right to that point.
I love it. No, and I couldn't agree more. It's in all those 5 elements you're bringing. Those are the elements of life that help us really thrive. And if we don't have all those solid, it's going to affect us in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. What do you find nowadays is the biggest obstacle for the people that you work with? Like they come to you and they're just getting started. What do you find as their biggest obstacle, or one of their biggest obstacles? It doesn't have to be the biggest obstacle.
A lot of things that I work with is belief system or beliefs in general. And it's one of those things that having a low self-worth, it's amazing how many people, it's one of the biggest things that I always have to address and work on. Now it shows up different sometimes for each individual.
Right.
But I always say, once you're pressed, once you're stressed and you got challenges and stuff that you face, that stuff comes out. You can't hide it. Like you can hide it when things are going good, but when they're not. So it's really having people really believe in themselves and really believe that they get to choose their experience. Now, I'm not going to say, oh, just because you choose this and this is what you want, you're going to get it. Like this is your whole secret universal law stuff. And I always say, no, you're going to, the life or universe, God, whatever you want to call it, it's always going to bring to you what you need first.
Mm-hmm.
And then you will get what you want.
Right. You get what you need, then you get what you want.
Always. And so a lot of times some people will be like, Doc, I've been doing this, I've been doing these things, this and that, but it's still not showing up. I said, well, you just saying that tells me we still got work to do. Right. But number two, it's like we still got, I call it cooking. We still got to cook. We still got to go through we're not fully there. We're not ready yet. We got a couple more hours before this is like perfect. Think of like a nice roast or something that you're making, right? It's got, or a rib roast, whatever, a prime rib, right? You gotta let that thing sit for a little bit. It's got to be cooked at a certain way in a certain time. And I say life, when we actually start doing this inner work, I don't know what that time is, but I know when you're getting there. That's the purpose. Right. That's why I say I call myself, it's like a guide. I'm guiding you through this. Yeah. And it's amazing because as a business coach, I remember when I first started getting into business coaching, I didn't give still to this day, 85% of the time, sometimes even 90%. I'm not even giving business advice, business strategies, business systems, I barely even touch any of that stuff.
Yeah. It's always the individual, because when they're better, the business is better. The answers come. So I got a big question for you. I've never asked anybody this question. I've been doing tons of these podcasts, never ask anybody this, but I'm going to ask you because I think you can handle the question. How do you differentiate or commingle, however you want to absorb the question, the law of attraction and the law of action?
Ooh, I love this. So yeah, it's a great question. So, you were trying to look at, can you just sit on, basically, let me just kind of rephrase this and tell me if I'm hitting the mark of how you're asking it.
Okay.
Can I just sit on a couch and just think what I want and make it happen without any action?
Yeah, no, you're spot on or close, because most of the people in the universe that are trying to help other people, let me tell you the secret. And, you have to get in the vibe. You have to feel the quanta. You got to feel the energy. And I think that they missed the law of action along with the law of attraction, of feeling the energy. That's just me. I'm not answering the question. I'm asking you because you seem like a great person to be able to tie those two together or not.
Oh, I definitely can. So law of inspired action, right? That's what the law of inspired action, law of action, or law of inspired action. There, you have to be, so taking a step back, we have law of attraction, but there's actually a law before the law of attraction, which is called the law of vibration. Mm-hmm. And so you have to be in that right state of energy or that vibration. You got to be emitting that out properly. And when you do, the law states that when you are in that state of vibration, you will experience only that state and nothing above or below. So where the law of attraction comes in, or the law of harmonic resonance, both of the same names, is that when you vibrate, then all of a sudden you start to attract to you situations, circumstances, or things that are going to help you to where you want to go.
Right.
But the law of inspired action, there's a difference between action and inspired action, because action is what I did for the first 5 years of my career in chiropractor and was burned out every 4 to 6 months.
100%.
The law of inspired actions, you sit there, and what happens is you'll get inspired to take action. You get excited to do something. You're going to be propelled to want to do something. It could be a business thing. It could be this. It could be that. There's a difference in that. And you have to have action. You can't just sit and do nothing. But to kind of explain what this is, how does this look? We can go to the Bible, David versus Goliath. Mm-hmm. The way we're taught how business is, and you still see this today. I've been in business for 15, 16 years studying this stuff, and it's the same advice. Just go, do, sweat equity. Eventually you'll get there. Right. That's like saying David just kept grabbing every single stone possible in the world and kept throwing it at Goliath and just hoping the one would hit.
Right.
You can do that. I'm not saying it doesn't work. You're going to lose out on other areas of your life to get to that point. Or inspired action, when you're really focusing, visualizing, getting the vibe right, seeing yourself being that all those things, right? Then all of a sudden you'll look and you go, that's the stone.
That's the stone.
You just know. You go and grab it, you throw it, game over.
Game's over. I love it. Perfect answer, man. Perfect analogy. I love it. I knew I was asking the right person. And seriously, I'd never asked anybody that question because most people can't handle it. It's just they're like, well,
we live in the physical world, so we have to do some sort of action.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that you can't just sit there and attract it, but it doesn't work in space-time reality.
Right.
At least right now where we are as humans.
Exactly.
Maybe 100 years from now, and we shift and elevate to another level, then the rules change. But for right now, where we are,
these are the rules.
And I don't make them up. I just learned them.
No, there's 12 immutable laws, and I think people forget that there's 12 of them, not one. So that's really my point. So tell us about the last book, your third book.
Yeah, I wrote this book. It was last year, 2022, and so it's called Decoding the Matrix. And really, this book is really having us understand how we're conditioned, what this matrix things is, what's the sub matrices underneath all that, because there's like the big one, which is the basically human collective consciousness, and then all the layering effects of that, and how the matrix creates a mental prison for us and how we get conditioned. When does that happen? Between ages 0 and 7, usually age 0 and 5 is the big ones. And then how it dictates our life. And then what are the things that we can do to choose to break out of that? What does that look like? What is a spirit, kind of like a spiritual awakening,
right?
Or just an awakening in general, realizing that, oh my God, I can actually choose. This is not how life should be. And helping individuals really tap into the essence of who they really are.
Right.
Because we need more of that in this world. We need more. I talk about how we can go and do and know all these things, but it comes back to, if I'm living my fullest life or living a fulfilled life, then everyone around me, it'll be a ripple effect. They may not do it, but at least there's going to be an energy exchange going on to where it happens. And then they do it. And then if they focus on it, then they become that person. And we create this massive ripple effect. And I share in the book, this is how we break humanity away to higher levels and higher experiences of what we want. Mm-hmm. If we just know this, tap into that. So it's breaking away from the chains that hold us back and allowing us to thrive in life.
Excellent, man. So I have a personal question. So you have a little one, right?
Yeah, I got a 1-year-old.
You got a 1-year-old. And your 1-year-old is starting to read, starting to ask questions. You just mentioned in your own explanation, description of your material in your book, that by 7, things start getting really stuck together. What's the plan? What's your 1-year-old, a boy or a girl?
It's a girl.
And what's her name?
Maya. So
Maya's starting to read. She's starting to understand. How are you bringing Maya up so that she's as aware, if I can use the word aware, she is where you need or want her to be, given what you know about things? What's the plan to get her there?
It's going to be tough regardless. I tell my wife this all the time. I'm like, she will get conditioned no matter what. Mm-hmm. And we will mess something up because something will happen that we'll be clueless of and subconscious of, mm-hmm. that it will get imprinted. But what we do is allow her to stay curious.
Okay.
What we do is allow her to choose what she's interested in something. We let her be, this is what she wants to do. Let her be curious. Don't hold her back. Don't put fears on her. Don't put limitations on her. Let her explore and live life.
Right.
And when we allow children to do that, just from a neurodevelopment standpoint, because it's all about how can we help her as an individual work through and grow and develop as much as she can. And curiosity and play is so important for kids. And, we call it safe. What is it called? My wife has a term for this: safe curiosity or safe play or safe something, where she may be doing something and we're like, oh, this can go bad, mm-hmm. but we're supervising it and making sure that if anything did, we got her.
Okay.
But it's allowing her to stay curious and not yelling or not this. I mean, if my wife and I get in an argument, we also show her that how we make up, and we look at how we're affectionate with each other afterwards, right. too. So it's like a lot of those kind of things are the things that we do, and we take them from time to time. Right now she's 1 year old, so it's just play, happy smile. And every time I walk in a room, right, I'm all, when she looks at me, I smile and light up. Why? because when she's older, I want her, if she can end up with a man, whatever it is, whatever her choices are when she gets older, I'm always like, I want her to know that that's how the individual should respond.
Right.
And I always joke too, like working, like I told my wife when I was in B40, I'd be one of the best shapes of my life. And I'm a month and a half away from there. And I'm on my pace. I'm doing pretty well. I don't know if it's gonna be close, but I tell her, I'm like, but I will always be in great shape because I want her to see, like my daughter sees me working out. She sees me meditating. She sees me going my cold plunge. She sees me doing all those other things.
Excellent.
And so these are just things that we grow, that's conditioning, right? Because we're conditioning her.
Right.
But we're showing her too, though, like, here's what we do. And then when she gets older and she can understand and get into the 4 or 5 year range where she's like, why, Daddy, do you do this? Why, Daddy, do you do that? Now I have an opportunity to appease her curious mind. So
exactly.
Keep them curious, keep them playful, let them be a kid, let them explore, and just support along the way and breathe, right? Don't get upset. Don't get mad. Those are the kind of things I keep myself in check as much as possible. So that I don't imprint something on her where she's like, oh, if I do that, I upset Daddy. That's not good.
Right. So she's being authentic, living for herself, making her own choices, and understanding when things aren't healthy, safe, or something else. You deliver that in a way that doesn't make her feel like she has to own some own some behavior because somebody else is upset.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
I want her to be her own person.
All right, excellent. So I just posted up how to reach or get some information from Dr. Vic. He has www.drvic.systems.io /the mindset solution ebook with a hyphen in between all of those. So check those out. Is there any other information socially, Instagram, LinkedIn, or anything else that you want to share so people can get to you? I want to make sure they get to you, Doc.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn. My Instagram and Facebook is Dr. Vic Manzo, and then LinkedIn is Dr. Manzo.
All right, excellent. Well, we're going to be checking you out. We're going to be liking, subscribing, and following your ish so that we can be better on the areas that will make our lives easier, simpler, and better, man. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, seeing patients and coaching your business clients, and taking care of Maya and your beautiful wife. I've never seen her before, but I'm sure she's beautiful to put up with you.
She is. Yep, definitely to put up with me. It's a lot of work.
Us men are a lot of work, but I do appreciate your time and your energy, man. And I look forward to following your path and your trajectory and seeing your greatness.
Thanks for having me on, bro. This was a lot of fun.
I had a lot of fun too, man. Talk to you soon. All right, you heard it. Now listen, let's decompress. First of all, he talked a lot about stress and how it affects you negatively. Then he went into your self-worth. Your self-worth is self. It's not outside of you. So if you're looking outside of you, you're going to be worth less. And I don't mean worthless as in zero, but worth less than you think you are, because no one is going to value you the way you do. He talked about doing the work. He also talked about being open. You heard my question. I asked it intentionally about Maya. What are you going to do? It's the same thing you need to do today. If you're 50 and you are all locked up and you're not feeling free, you should do the same things he talked about doing with Maya. He talked about being open, being curious, not letting other people put limitations on you. So I encourage you to go and reach out to Dr. Vic Manzo, check out his books, do the work. If you do the work, the law of inspired action will take place. You will end up in the right vibration because he's the vibe, man. What? I'm telling you, did you feel the vibe? He's the vibe. If anybody's doing it right, he is, and I am proud that he allowed me to interview him, to bring him to you so that you can get better, so that you can be inspired, so that you can do more, and that you can understand that not only is it not woo-woo, but it is scientific. It's scientific that if you change your energy, if you put yourself in the right vibration, good things will happen. I want you to like, share, and subscribe. I want you to comment what you thought about Dr. Vic. If you don't have anything positive to say, just say he's the man, and we'll keep moving. You feel me? Absolutely. I'm Derick Gant. Be your best. Bring your best. Leave nothing to chance.